It is a couple minutes past 9 on December 27th. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I couldn't hear Chris.
He's giving us the thumbs up. Good morning, Commissioner Houston. Do you want to have a couple of words you want to speak this morning here before we get started?
Can't hear you.
Can we let her have a couple just a couple words? I know she's remote; she can't participate in the meeting, but we can give her a moment to say a couple words. She wanted to be here in person.
We can't hear you, Christine.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm off mute. Yeah, I just wanted to, publicly say what a privilege it's been to serve as Wright County Commissioner. And I know we all have our districts of people that we specifically represent, but I believe that all of us have worked for the entire county in what we've done. And it's, what an honor to serve with all of you. And we've gotten a lot done in the last 10 years, and it's not without some controversy at times, but I believe that our hearts are in the right spot, and we had vision and just pushed forward. So I just want to thank everyone, and I'm sure I'll be better by Friday. So have a good meeting.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Commissioner Houston. All right. So moving forward with the meeting here, we are looking to approve the minutes from last week on December 20th and the minutes from December 14th.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve both minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Allight and second by Commissioner Wetter. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved unanimously. Moving forward to today's agenda, is there anything that needs to be modified today to today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden and second by Commissioner Catchmark. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved unanimously. Today's consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove anything from today's consent agenda for further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you. 3 items. First one, A1, 7-Eleven social media policy. A3 is the Flaherty and Hood proposal. And F1 is review of the 710 policy. It won't be for as much discussion as it will to schedule for another meeting.
All right. Anyone else have any?
I'll make a motion then to approve the consent agenda with those 3 items removed.
All right. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. We have a motion by Commissioner Catchmark and a second by Commissioner Wetter to approve today's consent agenda with the removal of A1, 3, and, it was
F1.
F1. Yep. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right. Consent agenda is approved 3-1. All right. Moving on to the first item, the approval or the item administration 7-Eleven social media policy.
Right, Mr. Chair. And along with, we could combine this, the F1 is a review of the 710 policy. This is of the 7-Eleven. It seemed more appropriate to wait until the new commissioners are on board because they're all going to have to live and work with this policy. I don't see the urgency in passing it today. We've gone as it is to this point. And in looking through it, there's a lot of red that was added and crossed out. So I would move for that to be a meeting down the road after January 3rd.
Okay. So you're making a motion to remove items administration 7-Eleven social media policy and the technology F1, the approval of the 710 acceptable uses.
7-Eleven.
No, that was 7, but there's 710.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the acceptable uses of technology to a January 17th or later date.
Right, I make that motion.
All right, and we have a second? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A second, and we have a second by Commissioner Wetter. And then your motion was to move the Flaherty and Hood contract to January 3rd, correct?
Right, that would be,
Mr. Chair, point of order. Before we talk about that, we have
Oh,
something, we already have
I thought
a
that was
motion
part of
on
it.
the
I'm
table.
sorry.
No, that's a separate one.
Separate one.
But Clay is up here. I'd like to hear from him.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the reason that we have those two policies, the social media and then the acceptable use of technology, is annually we try to do one big review of a lot of these policies and then have them signed off on by staff on an annual basis. And so the thought was get them done before the beginning of the year so that we can work that into one big policy change. Now, that said, I mean, if they're held off until the beginning of the year, it's not imperative that we get them done. It was more just from a practical standpoint and operationally, it was easiest for us to do it that way. So just kind of wanted to give you that insight.
So these are new policies relatively, especially the technology and acceptable uses. This is a lot of new language to it. Good language nonetheless, but it's not a practice that we've historically done of adopting policies in the last meeting of the year. So I'll stand with Commissioner Catchmark. I think his ask is fair to move it to January 17th or later. There's nothing urgent to them. So we've lived without this language thus far. So I think there's no reason to wait a couple weeks.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have anything to add. I'll let the motion stand.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I would recommend that you have the people that wrote those new policies and stuff present at your meeting.
Well, absolutely. I think that's a fair ask. And that would be my expectation. And it's not that the language in either of these policies is controversial in nature. I think it was just more the fact that adopting new policies the last meeting of a year on a changeover of a board meeting is just strange at best. So, and especially when there's no urgency to needing these policies because we've existed without a lot of this language for months and in some cases years. So I think the request by Commissioner Catchmark is more than fair. All right. So is
get a
there any
vote,
other
right?
discussion?
Okay.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those are moved on. Now to the item administration 3, the approval of Flaherty and Hood proposal for the 2023 legislative services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, I remember when I came on, they proposed the same contract. They're saying up to $55,000 that this contract would be for, to lobby specifically for Wright County. I think we're in a good position with the newly elected commissioners to be on board, ask questions before this is approved. As Commissioner Delighten said on his last radio show, these new commissioners are bringing experience from cities, council, mayor, and school board. So we should take advantage of that, let them be in on it, instead of just coming in and assuming, okay, this $55,000 contract sounds good. That's pending Flaherty and Hood is interested. I'd be best probably for January 3rd, because my understanding is the legislative session starts on that day. So if they're available, did you know if they were on Teams or watching, Lee, or?
I know, Board, Mr. Ketchmark, that I believe Shane was going to try and attend, but I don't know if he is on the Teams. I don't have that open, but did have some discussion with him prior to the meeting that this may be moved to a later date, so there's aware of that. So I can coordinate that with him and have him come.
Okay, and I would trust that'd be at no cost to the county to hear their sales presentation for up to $55,000 in business next week. If you can relay that to him, and I would make that motion then to move that presentation pending Flaherty and Hood availability to January 3rd's meeting.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Catchmark, second by Commissioner Dahleiden. I will comment as well as saying that I support that move, and this is even one contract that I have found great value with in historically, but I do see the point of allowing the new board to weigh in on it, and think it's a great move to just push it back a week, so there's no urgency on that as well. So any other further discussion?
I disagree for the simple reason they're already meeting with legislators and lobbying for us. So I think it's past the time. They're all, yeah, like I said, they're already out there lobbying for us. So I think, the new commissioners can always add more stuff or talk to them directly, what they think, So I think it should be, happen now.
And so in our current contract is through the end of this year, so you're leaving a short 3-day gap on that with basically New Year's Day and the honored New Year's Day of that Monday, which is a holiday. So essentially no business lost and not renewing the contract today. But I do respect that position on it because they have been a good partner in helping Wright County achieve its goals on a legislative perspective. So.
And and also, Mr. Chair, I think they've already been out there talking to legislators.
They have,
And
yes.
so they should get paid for that. And I know it goes to the end of the year, but I think it should continue.
And
I don't see a problem with signing it now.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Go ahead. Is that?
Mr. Chair, this is Shane Clark. I was just gonna let you know that I am on Teams.
Oh, great. And Shane, if it is pushed to January 3rd, does that work for you to be able to weigh in on some capacity, either in person or virtually, with our new board?
Yeah, and I think, as I communicated with Lee in advance of this meeting, he did let me know that that might be one of the things the board would be discussing. And of course, it's the board's choice whether we do it today or wait till January 3rd. And I understand the thought to do that. And my commitment is, yes, I will make myself available, whether it's in person or virtual. And first, I apologize I'm not able to be there in person today. Unfortunately, I'm down in Iowa at the moment here. I'm going to be attending a family funeral. But next week, January 30th, is the first day of legislative session. So if I can sneak away for the kind of early stage of that, or the first few hours of that, I'll certainly be there. If not, I'll join you from St. Paul and then stick close to the Capitol, since legislators will be arriving back. And as a couple of the commissioners have discussed, I think it's important that there's not a disruption in things with a legislative issue or legislative session getting started, and Wright County's issues. Some of them, I think, look like they'll move fast, at least, and some things we'll need to keep our eyes on. But as long as it's the first meeting of the year that we're included in, I think we can make that work, and we'll defer to you, Commissioner Vetch, and existing or continuing and new board members on the direction that you want to go.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Ketchmark.
Hello, Shane. This is Commissioner Ketchmark. Thanks for being available today. Sorry for your loss on your funeral. Thanks for being available next week. And maybe could you be prepared to tell the new members what you folks have accomplished for us in lobbying last year and what your plan is for 2023? I'll just give you that little bit of background if you're available to speak to that next year next year, and take whatever inquiries that they have. So thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
regarding that last question for Commissioner Ketchmark, what their plan for the county this year would be our plan, because we tell them what we want them lobbying for.
And that all goes back to our legislative priorities meeting that we had. Oh gosh, that's almost 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Time flies by. But a lot of that stems around, we talked about min choices, we talked about quarters of commerce, I-94, we talked about DMV services, amongst a variety of other things, but those are some of the items that we're looking to utilize their services to help garner some better support from legislators to better the quality of life for citizens in Wright County.
And the homestead credit, if I remember
And the
correctly,
homestead,
was
that's
another-
what it was. The
that was a
homestead,
huge one.
homestead credit was one of the biggest ones that we have. That one has a huge impact to citizens in Wright County and across the state of Minnesota for that fact. So Shane, we look forward to seeing you here on January 3rd, potentially, pending the outcome of this vote here. And you have my condolences as well. So is there any other discussion?
You'll see it next year.
Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none. The motion was to move the approval of the Flaherty and Hood proposal to January 3rd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. All right. So now we're moving on to regular timed agenda. We're a little bit past 9:02. Mr. Pickard. You have someone new to introduce to us today.
Good morning, Board. Thanks for having me. Just take this opportunity to introduce our new Assistant Veteran Service Officer, Elisa Selleck. She comes to us. She's got a history as a Assistant Veteran Service Officer and as a Deputy National Service Officer for the VFW. So please welcome her, and she's a good addition to the team. She's a great asset.
Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning.
Welcome to Wright County.
Be nice.
Does any of our board members have any comments? But we want to welcome you to working here. You have a great guy to work with. A lot of great citizens in the county that you're going to get to meet over the years ahead here.
Absolutely.
So where'd you come from?
I worked at the VFW National Veteran Service Office out in St. Paul in the Whipple Building, and prior to that, I worked for Carver County Veteran Services.
Well, good. We got to steal somebody. Where do you live?
I live in Howard Lake.
Oh, so you work for the Wright County, and you also live in the Wright County.
Yes, sir.
It's too bad.
She did before. She's a prior corrections officer.
Oh, here for Wright County?
Yes, sir.
You want to looking for a part-time job too? Because I think they're hiring part-time people for that.
I think I have enough work with Greg.
Yeah, you don't quite know yet how much work you're gonna have with Greg.
Yes, she does, because I've been sending my claims through her, so she knows exactly what she's in for.
Now, this your third veteran?
Second, so we have Steve and her now. as
Okay,
assistants.
so yeah, there's three of you
Three of
now.
us,
Yep.
Yep.
Well, two that actually
Two
do
and a
the
half.
two that actually do the work. Well, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in today. And sometime I'm going to want to talk to you because you're the first person that I've known that actually has been inside that Whipple building.
Okay.
So I'm kind of curious. I've heard different things about it, but we'll have a conversation sometime about that.
Yes, sir.
Looks like a interesting place. Thank
Sir.
you.
Quick question. Kind of personal, but so what branch of the armed forces were you in?
The Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps. So we have somebody from the Navy, somebody from the Air Force, and then a real person that served.
Wow.
Happy New Year.
One last thing.
How many minutes left?
There you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my last one.
That's right.
Greg, I can't give you a hard time after this.
Yeah, that's a fair shot.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you working here in Wright County. All right, moving on to our 9:10, which is now our 9:21 item, recognition of years of service. We are going to recognize three of our commissioners for their time and due diligence here to the service of the citizens of Wright County. Administrator Kelly, do you have?
Yes, I have a
Some
few
details.
comments, if you would allow, Mr. Chair. First, of course, Meriwether has been on our board now for 2 years. Thank you for serving on the Board of Commissioners.
You're welcome.
I've really appreciated your unique perspective, knowing, being a resident yourself in Leander, of Wright County for many, many years. Certainly have a history that, an extensive history that most of us do not have, and I've appreciated having that on the board, as well as the insight you've brought from Soil and Water and your other involvement in working politically. So I know your time on the board may not have ended the way you wished it to, but certainly have appreciated your leadership and the time on the board. So I do have a plaque to present to you today. I will send that over at the moment.
Oh,
You prepared?
No. I have no speech prepared, and I'm not going to give a speech, except thank you. I appreciate my time here and working with all of you, and that's really all I've got to say. My forced retirement, and I'm using the words of the paper, the newspaper in Wright County. And that's what they called it, a forced retirement. So I'm not going to get political here. So thank you very much.
And Commissioner Butter, I will say you will be missed, and I know that you'll be active because you've been active in decades in the community, and you have been active in this room, and you will be active, I'm sure, outside of this room. And I believe we can't thank you enough for your involvement in the community and politically in your activism. It is greatly appreciated here, and it's going to be greatly appreciated for years to come. And hopefully more people will emulate your lifestyle and wanting to stay involved in government and to wanting people to question things and hold things accountable. And for that, I thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd just like to tell you that I appreciate your sense of humor. We were neighboring offices over here, and I thought we had a good connection that way, and that's important to get through a lot of these things. So, thank you.
For the sake of the new commissioner, can you learn to tune it down a little bit when you're on the phone? These walls aren't exactly the best.
Not insulated very well?
No.
I addressed that with Alan at the right time, and that's what we got. But that kind of depends on who's on the other end of the phone, Commissioner Wetter, as to how loud I am.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. I appreciate
Yeah.
working with you the last 2 years. It's been very enjoyable.
Yes.
And you have brought a lot from the soil and water and the water boards that you've been on, which have been a challenge for you, I'm sure, just because water seems to be an issue, whether there's not enough or too much, so, and the quality of it. So I do appreciate over the years where you've been with the soil and water.
Well, you're very welcome, and I guess with those water boards, it's interesting working with other counties and hearing their perspective, and they oftentimes do clash.
Yes, they do.
So,
But, and you know, and I do think that one watershed, one plan, I hate to say that was good governance, but it made more sense to quit fighting with each other and to work together on those watersheds. So I do believe that was actually a good decision that was made.
and I have been asked to continue as a citizen advisory.
Well, good. Good.
So, we'll see.
I think Chris has a,
Thank you.
Commissioner Hewson, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to echo what everyone said. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for your service, and you, as Commissioner Betcha said, it's been decades, and I know you'll continue, and it's just been fun getting to know you better. So, all the best going forward.
Thank you.
And now we'd like to take, now that you're on the screen there, Commissioner Hewson, we want to take the opportunity to honor you and recognize you for your 10 years of service here at Wright County. You'll have to come in at another time and get the plaque since we won't be able to hand that to you here right now, but I'm going to give you a hand of applause. I know you made some comments earlier, and I want to say that Commissioner Hewson, you and I we've gone through a lot over the last 6 years that I've worked with you. Some good battle scars, some not so good battle scars, but I believe we were able to make some great things happen for the citizens of Wright County. I do want to say there is no person that I know dedicates themselves more than you have in terms of researching and finding out the most details about an issue and trying to come to the best consensus possible. I don't think you could have asked for a better commissioner than yourself. I want to thank you, and I will miss the time that I had working with you here going forward.
Thank you. Ditto, Derek.
Commissioner Hewson, I have your cell phone info, so I'll still be texting you with some little tidbits of information from going forward. A little bit of humor.
We need to keep finding out where people are moving from and where they live now.
Yeah, I'll let you know whenever we get a new Wright employee.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Well, I guess we could probably call you Madam Chair Emeritus now, because you're not going to be back as our chair. But I appreciated you being the chair. You're always kind and courteous to the fellow board members and whoever's in the room that chooses to speak. I appreciated that. And I'm waiting for the book to come out, I guess. You'll probably call the county, it'll be My Life in Winnebago County or something, but we'll wait for that to come out, but take care in your retirement. I'm sure we'll see you around.
You know,
It's been great.
Actually, speaking of the book, I think that was the rumor, was that the reason she got on the board was that she would have material for more stories. So I would have to imagine after 10 years on the board that it won't be just one book.
Well, I don't know. Rumor has it. I know Ketchmark's getting his own book about himself in there. I'm only getting a chapter in one book, but you're getting your own book, I hear.
Well,
Who would
there
read
could
it?
be a murder in the commissioner's boardroom or a body found in the commissioner's office or something.
You can see it.
With the chief, what do you call it? Person under, I can't think of the word now. The person that they would look at for the guy that did the murder. would be
Otherwise known
you.
as a suspect, okay.
Yeah, oh, the suspect. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word right now. The main suspect would be Commissioner Ketchmark, right? Right?
We'll wait and see.
Well, it's going to be found in your room, right?
To nothing.
Mr. Kreiser, you've got evidence,
Yeah, you gotta go where the evidence leads you.
Yeah. And Mr. Bowen, he's here too, the both of you, you've heard it first. That's the main suspect.
Mr. Holler will play a part as well.
Oh, yes, we have the communications expert here.
Well, Commissioner Hughes, with all those suggestions and ideas, I'm assuming the book will be out within the year.
Yeah, she's been writing feverishly as she's watching here.
Gee, it'll be probably
Making
out in
notes.
July, right, Christine?
Thank you so much, Commissioner Hewson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we have the honor of honoring Commissioner Dahliden for his 10 years of service. And I believe that, Mr. Kelly, do you have, I think it's a Diet Coke, it's not a plaque for him, but
Yeah, Diet Coke and a few other consumable items, perhaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really thought that the Coke people would be here personally, because I've been advertising them for 10 years now.
well, and I really thought that this would be like a World Series where we take a bottle and just shake it up and spray him with it, but Alan said that the building services wouldn't like that in the new carpet, so we had to pass on that.
Thanks, Alan.
Ooh.
Well, Mark, as well as Christine, you both came on at a very
Yes.
interesting time in that 4 out of 5 new commissioners in a fast-growing county that at the time was around 128,000 residents. We're now over 141,000. And I commend you both for recognizing some of the needs that the county faced. And as Commissioner Hewsom said earlier, at times that came with some lumps. I understand, so I commend you for seeing that through, both of you. Certainly, it's been a lot of things from building projects to reorganizations to, a lot of things that have been going on. The local option sales tax that got passed, and through it all, I commemorate you for seeing it through. Mark, from the beginning, it was pretty evident that you weren't one that was going to be satisfied with status quo, and anytime we mentioned that's the way we've always done it, that really set you off. And I always appreciated that, to keep us on our toes, to keep us moving forward as a county, as well as the frequent use of the no button throughout the board meetings. You always
Which
found a way-
disappeared too. I don't know what happened to it, but I've looked everywhere. So somebody scoundered off with it.
There you go.
So all I have is a yes button to leave for you, Lee.
You can feel free to leave that. if you would.
That kind of scares me.
So thank you for your service, Mark. I will present you with the plaque from us. Thank you for your service.
And Derek, just so didn't wear a tie. I wanted to wear a T-shirt specifically for you, and it says, "Well, you read it."
I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
So over the years, we've had many discussions.
Oh, we have. And that was my comment. I was going to say yes or no. You were always my elusive vote. Just when I thought I knew what direction you were going, you'd throw me for a loop and go totally a 180 on me. So, but always at the end of the day, I could understand your perspective on why at the end you made the switch, or why things were as gray in terms of coming into the room. Because a lot of times I'm not sure if you held sometimes your perspective really close to your sleeve right till the last minute on some votes. And sometimes I think you really wanted to get a feel of the people in the room, and you wanted to get the feel of your constituents right to it. You really took those public hearings to heart, and really, I think that weighed heavily on how you made your decisions. I mean, you were a true representative of the people. Wright County citizens couldn't have asked for a better person to represent them here at Wright County, and thank you for your time here.
Well, I always said when I ran it, people needed a choice between the lesser of two evils, and this is the evil they took. So,
Mr. Chair, one thing I got for you, Commissioner Delyden, is you didn't put it in glide your last year here. You took a heavy task, which was the labor negotiations of all these unions. And with that, you had to keep your head in the game right to the end. I don't even know now if they're all resolved as we sit here today.
I think there's two left.
So I thank you for that, because I know it's a lot of work, and it's something that's going to hopefully hold together for the next 3 years. But you and Commissioner Vetch, it was a team effort, and I appreciate you doing that on your last tour here. I know it's a big lift, but you stuck with it, so thank you.
And you did P&Z on top of that.
I don't know. P&Z seemed to be a walk in the park compared to other things.
So maybe he's alluding that he may be applying for a planning and zoning commission on the board someday.
Mr. Chair, what I appreciated about Mark was that his sense of humor. He always added something to the whole board meeting, and especially when there were new people being introduced and he had to learn where they lived from, and they had to be from the Wright County. So at least that's what he felt, and I agree with him to a certain extent, but I appreciate all your hard work, 10 years worth. That's a lot of time. I understand that, and you've gone through a lot of battles, and I thank you for that.
Thanks, Mary.
Commissioner Hewsom, you have some comments?
Yeah, I just want to say, Mark, you've been fun to work with. You're dedicated. You're very selfless. And, when you want a prize, you give it to somebody else. I mean, so
Yeah.
you've really had I've really appreciated that in you, and just, and you do your research too, and at the end of the day, we come with our information, we make our vote, but yeah, you've been a true servant, so, and fun to be with, so, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
since he showed his T-shirt, I'd like to show my T-shirt.
Let it snow. You didn't get enough the last week?
I figured you'd love that, Mark.
Regarding Commissioner Hewsome, one of the other things that we have failed to mention is the employees that we have here at Wright County and how
yes.
it's been great working with all of them.
Yes.
Well, most of them, Greg.
Which Greg are you talking about?
Do I need to define that one? One's an attorney, one's a...
Which one's better?
Pick your friends.
No, anyway, the employees we have here are awesome. I mean, they've done a great job. I know Commissioner Hewsome and you and I, when we first got on here, we'd asked for best idea contest.
The next best, yep.
And we got some great ideas from a lot of those employees, and might not be bad timing with the new 3 board members to do it again. Those people that are in the trenches and how they work and how we can improve things, and I believe there's a lot of things that changed over the years because of those suggestions from the employees.
A lot of things were implemented, so, yeah, that was a great project to work on.
Yeah, and just it didn't happen overnight because we're government. We can't rush things at all. We have to do it a little slower. So anyway, to the new commissioners, I wish you well. Politics don't belong on this board meeting. We're representing all of the citizens of Wright County. We're mandated to do a lot of different things. And I'm hoping that the 3 new commissioners will work with our legislators to improve some of the technology and some of the rules to make life a little bit simpler for the residents of Minnesota. So, thank you to all our employees.
Thank you.
And you department heads too. I guess I have to define that.
And one last round of applause for the 3 of you. Thank you. So to finish out the year, we have one last piece of housekeeping that we have to do is we have to set the per diem rates for appointees to county boards and committees and commissions. At this time, looking to have if there's any discussion. Otherwise, if you want to look for a motion to set the resolution for the per diems for county board appointed commissions, committees, and
Mr. Chair.
yes.
Thank you. I just saw the language in the request for action that it talked about some change. Is there an actual change, or I don't have last year's list with this to compare it. Is everything identical? Every board last year that was getting a per diem is this year?
Yes, Commissioner Ketchmark, this is the same committee listing as was in previous years. As you may recall, last year we had made an update to the rates on the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustments, which is still consistent here as drafted. So no changes had been made.
So that change, this basically is a copy of last year's, but this year there's no change to look at. Okay.
No, but there was just some new ones that were added. I think like the opioid one was one that was potentially added to it.
I don't see that on there.
Or that one's paid out of its own funds because there was a per diem that was set at that. I thought it was the same county rate, but
I believe it is. I think Mr. Chair, it mentions, bears to mention, with the change that the commissioners did in going away from per diems, that is different. I want to clarify that this resolution is simply for those citizen appointments to committees.
yeah, but I believe the opioid ones, there is a per diem that's paid for the people that are on. And Jamie's giving me the nod, and I think that was one that was, I don't know if it just for whatever reason to get on there, or if it's,
Mr. Chair, I think it would make sense just to add that then to the resolution. We could put it under the Human Services, Health and Human Services section, just for clarity.
Mr. Chair. And I was wondering if it was on there, but maybe called something else or included in something. But with that, if that's added, wasn't the agreement that the money for those per diems was gonna come from the opioid settlement? Isn't that what we're doing?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark, that's correct. It does come from, is it Fund 12? It's from the opioid settlement fund itself. And currently we have 2 members that are claiming reimbursement.
Okay, so if we add that, you don't expect the terms to change on where the money's coming from, and you might have members that decide to take the per diem or don't, but it'll be paid the same.
Correct. And most members are coming as part of their work, so they don't claim a per diem.
it's just mostly getting noted in here so that
Yep.
if anybody would, that it's legitimately documented, so.
We would appreciate that.
Yes.
I did not see the agenda until early this morning and saw that it was not on there.
No problem.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the per diems for the residents that are on our county board, or on the committees, and include the opium?
Opioid settlement advisory.
Yes, that one. See, it's a good thing I'm retiring.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Commissioner Wetter. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is approved unanimously. We are now out of business items. We have some advisory updates. If there's anybody that has anything they'd like to share before adjourning, Administrator Kelly, we'll start over there.
Hope everyone had a great holiday season, first off. Enjoy the snow. Continuing to wrap up with some union negotiations items, as we still have two groups that are out there. And just a reminder, we will have a reception for the outgoing commissioners in the room following the meeting. So, thank you.
Mr. Chair, slow week for meetings, but I would just like to give a compliment to the Highway Department for their effort during the Christmas schedule and keeping the roads clear. I heard the plow dragging by my house a few times and much appreciated. So nobody's here. Hopefully they're listening or we can put it on the record, but thanks to them. That's all I have.
Again, it's just been wonderful working with the county and all the employees and stuff. I did fail to mention one particular person, my wife, who supported me through this whole thing and some of the night meetings, and without her, I wouldn't have been a success. So thanks to my wife. She had to work today, otherwise she would have made it.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahlheiden. I have nothing to add to it. Like I said, one last thank you, and I'll miss both of you, or the three of you. I'll miss all of you guys. And onward and upward to 2023. Commissioner Wetter.
Commissioner Wetter, I forgot two things. I want to thank Commissioner Vetch for supporting my Diet Coke habit. He gave me a few different things. And also that I greatly apologize for last week, because last week on Tuesday, Commissioner Vetch had a very important birthday. He was a year older on that day. And I really meant it. I wrote it down and I still forgot it. So I wished you a belated happy birthday. It should have been done last week, Tuesday, but just got to do it today.
I thought I was going to get lucky and escape getting called out on it at the board meeting. I was like, oh, I made it through a board meeting day on my birthday, and nope, you still got me.
Yeah, I apologize. I really feel bad about it, too.
I think this is like how many years my birthday seems to always fall on a board meeting day. I don't know how.
Sorry, I didn't realize you had a birthday, so.
Everybody does.
I'm trying to stay elusively young, and if I don't ever have a birthday, I don't age, right?
I have really nothing to report, other than I did get an email to say that the Mississippi River St. Cloud One Watershed One Plan is going to have their kickoff meeting on January 31st at 5:30. I don't know where, And that's the information to come yet. And also, it's supposed to be also available virtual, so we'll see if that actually happens. But I did want to mention that for whoever might be interested in eventually. And yes, I'd also like to thank my husband, Leander. When I had problems with time and research, I often gave him the task of looking something up for me. So I appreciate what you've done for me too. So thank you. And then also thank you to all the employees. Like I said, I appreciate all you've done, and again, thanks.
Commissioner Hewson, you have the floor. Parting comments?
I guess parting comments that thank you for mentioning the employees, because as I've always said, our employees are our greatest asset. And I mean, we couldn't do what we do without them and without their suggestions and help. I mean, that's where we get a lot of our information. And yeah, just really great people to work with. And, you know, you look at how dedicated people are, and some, stay for decades. And, yeah, it's really, we have a lot to be proud of that way for the county. And yeah, there's so much I could say, but let's just leave it at that. So hope to see you all around soon.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Hewson. Well, with that, we will end the county board meeting for 2022. We'll adjourn at 9:49.